Chapter 4. Knowledge. Knowledge is the third element of the ADKAR model and represents how to implement a change. Knowledge includes training and education on the skills and behaviors needed to change, detailed information on how to use new processes, systems, and tools, understanding of the new roles and responsibilities associated with the change. When a person has the awareness of the need for change and the desire to participate and support a change, knowledge is the next building block for realizing that change. Green Hotels Association introduced a change in 1993 that has spread throughout hotels in the United States and impacts many businesses and vacation travelers. After a trip to Germany, Patricia Griffin, founder and president of Green Hotels Association, returned with an idea to change the way hotel guests treated bath towels. On the surface, this could appear to be a daunting challenge. How could one person initiate a change that would impact thousands of hotel guests? It began with the printing of a small card that would hang on the towel rack in hotel guest rooms. The card, which you may have seen while traveling on business or vacation, essentially says, "Each day we use millions of gallons of water and tons of detergent in hotels to wash guest towels that have been used only once. Decide for yourself. A towel on the rack means, I will use it again. A towel on the floor or tub means, please exchange." By 2005, Green Hotels Association's guest cards could be seen in more than 150,000 guest rooms. Hotels are reporting significant savings in water, utility, and detergent costs. This change has helped conserve water and reduce operating expenses while protecting our environment. 15 years earlier, most hotel guests would have scoffed at the suggestion that towels be reused. Many people would consider this nothing more than a cost-savings attempt by a cheap hotel manager. Imagine the reaction of hotel guests to a sign that reads, "Please reuse your towel, it saves us money." Yet in this case, Green Hotels Association was able to successfully implement this change, and nearly every major hotel chain now uses similar towel cards in their guest rooms. What was different about how this change was managed that made it a success? If you analyze the simple text on this card, notice that awareness is the starting point. Many hotel guests may have never considered the implications associated with the simple process of washing towels. Decades of washing every towel and sheet in guest rooms have made us insensitive or perhaps unconscious of the impact this has on the environment. The card then states clearly, "Decide for yourself." This simple expression captures the essence of desire. It's ultimately up to each hotel guest to participate or not participate in the program. Finally, the card states how to change. Hanging up the towel means, "I'll use it again." And a towel on the floor means, "Please exchange." This phrase captures the how or the knowledge component of the change in very simple terms. Within this simple card, the first three elements of the ADKAR model are realized. Since the fourth phase, ability, is the simple act of placing towels back on the towel bar, the change took hold. The reinforcement for sustaining the change comes from two sources. First, the hotel guests' gratification that they have helped in a small way with a large environmental issue. And second, the hotel's expense reduction from using less water, electricity, and detergent. In many cases, the required knowledge for implementing a change is clear. For example, if I wanted to realize a lifelong dream of sailing, then the required knowledge includes both seamanship and the mechanics of operating a sailboat. I would need to understand how the wind and sails interact to allow the vessel to sail with the wind and to tack into the wind. I'd need to understand mariner regulations, safety, and navigation. Many work changes also have straightforward knowledge requirements. For example, organizations implementing large-scale ERP, or Enterprise Resource Planning, systems for their order fulfillment and supply chain processes have three primary knowledge challenges: how to use and maintain the system, how the processes will change, and how to prepare for the new job roles associated with the work processes. Other changes, however, don't have such clear-cut knowledge requirements. A network equipment manufacturer implemented a change in their sales force that required their salespeople to move away from selling hardware and move toward selling customer solutions. The primary selling strategy in this case was to sell based on business value to the client. This strategy was fundamentally different than the traditional model of selling based on price and features of their equipment. The compelling need to change was evident in the dropping market share of this long-time market leader. Awareness of the need for change came not only from senior business leaders, but was readily visible to the salespeople in declining revenues and dropping stock prices. The salespeople also knew that their future commissions were tied directly to customer purchases. They had a strong desire to move away from the old way of selling, which was proving ineffective. The knowledge of how to implement this change, however, was not as clear. It couldn't be distilled down to a simple process change or learning a new system. These salespeople were accustomed to selling products much like a car salesman would sell an automobile, namely demonstrate the features and capabilities, and then work the price until the customer buys. Shifting to a customer-centric approach based on business values required a completely new way of approaching the sale, a transformation in thinking. A program was created for these account executives that shifted their orientation away from products and features of their equipment toward the needs of and value for the customer. This shift in thinking was initially created by having salespeople learn about the companies they supported. This process included understanding their customers' business operations and financial objectives. The knowledge gap that appeared quickly was that many salespeople didn't understand basic financial terminology. After crossing that hurdle, they would spend time analyzing the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats facing that client. A value-based solution would then be created that met the client's needs. The final step was to create a business case to show the costs, benefits, and return on investment. This need for a business case presented yet another challenge. Many of the salespeople didn't have training in general business management, nor did they have MBAs as part of their education. Many had never written a business case. The process described in this case study is commonly referred to as solution-based selling and is prevalent in many organizations today. The knowledge gap uncovered for these salespeople was profound and created a barrier to change. Some salespeople never gained the necessary knowledge to succeed at this transformation, and a significant fraction of account executives left the company during this transition. Several factors will impact the successful achievement of the knowledge element of the ADKAR model. The current knowledge base of an individual, the capacity or capability of this person to gain additional knowledge, the resources available for education and training, and the access to or existence of the required knowledge. Factor 1. A person's current knowledge base. For some changes, a person may already have the required knowledge. In other cases, as with the salespeople in the computer manufacturing case study, the knowledge gaps can be large. The gap between a person's current knowledge level and the knowledge requirement associated with the change will directly impact the probability of success for those individuals. The current knowledge base of an individual could be in the form of education or work experience. Factor 2. Capability of the person to learn. In addition to the knowledge gap that may exist, each of us has a different capacity to learn. Some people pick up new information easily, whereas others struggle to learn new processes or tools. For example, some people learn new concepts quickly, but have difficulty learning technical skills. For other people, learning new information that requires memorization may be a challenge. In the same way we observe learning differences in our school systems among students, you can expect to see similar differences with adults during the learning process. Factor 3. Resources available to provide education and training. The third factor that influences knowledge is the resources available to provide education and training. In the workplace, this capacity varies greatly from one organization to another. Some companies have extensive resources and funding to deliver training. Other firms struggle to provide any type of structured education to support a change. Resources could include availability of subject matter experts, instructors, classroom facilities, books and materials, equipment and systems for student use, and funding to support the training program overall. Factor 4. The access to or existence of the required knowledge. For some desired changes, the knowledge may not be accessible or may not exist. Depending on an organization's geographic location, the ready access to knowledge may be a barrier to learning. Some parts of the world have very little access to educational institutions and subject matter experts. Organizations that don't have internet connectivity also have limitations in terms of their access to knowledge. For other types of changes, the knowledge may not exist or may not be fully developed. For example, changes that are desired in areas that require engineering or technical knowledge may not be possible because the information is not yet available. Advances in medicine, engineering, and other scientific fields occur daily. These advances are often enablers of change when they are developed. Summary: a combination of factors ultimately determines the degree to which individuals can acquire the necessary knowledge of how to change. These factors include 1. Our current knowledge level. 2. Our capacity to learn. 3. The availability of resources. And 4. The access to needed information. Knowledge is the third element in the ADKAR model and is an essential outcome for a change to be realized, both for the individual and for the organization as a whole. Understanding how to change can be a simple process in some cases and a transformation in thinking in others. Does knowledge automatically lead to ability? This assumption is often made by business managers who use training programs as their primary change management tool. Knowing how to do something and being able to do something is not necessarily the same thing. Under what circumstances does knowledge automatically transfer to ability, as it did with the Green Hotels Association case study?